Well, it's Gratu Orloff again, episode 248. It is January 17th, 2021. Um, Apparently, this is a new holiday. Well, it's Martin Luther King's birthday, of course, but there's a new holiday that I noticed someone was trying to start honoring the original Star Trek, the original USS Enterprise, not USS Enterprise A or B or whatever. Because it's, in other countries other than the United States, it's not, they have the date and then the month. So it would be 1701, and so it's the big Star Trek Day. And, pardon me. I'm going to confess some things to you that some of you would consider shameful and horrifying. I only liked the original Star Trek, the one that ran from 66 to 69. The Star Trek The Next Generation, I know this will make people very angry. I mean, to the point where I've seen people get angry at me. You don't understand. Well, mid-80s, I tried to watch the first two seasons. I watched two whole seasons, and it just didn't grab me. I noticed scripts that were recycled from the original Star Trek. I noticed they didn't have miniskirts anymore. I noticed there wasn't a lot of fisticuffs and Kirk fighting and that kind of stuff, because the original Star Trek had a wonderful dynamic between those cast members. Even though some of them hated each other, in reality, it really worked. The personalities were wonderful. As a kid, I wanted to be Captain Kirk, and I played out on the playground. I made little communicators out of cardboard. I've got one around here. I'll show it to you. I made little phasers out of notebook paper. I can't imagine being a kid in 3rd and 4th grade wanting to go out there and pretend to be Picard. Or even the guy that's supposed to be the heroic, handsome lead, the whatever his name is with the beard. It was like you wondered, okay, was everything Star Trek, the original, they call it the original series, was great science fiction, but it had a pulp element too, with green women and monsters and violence. And then the new Next Generation, it's like, no, we'll talk everything out because we're more sophisticated in our New World Order, And if we ever have any violence, it's going to be on the holodeck, and it's all going to be in our imagination, right? It's all going to be virtual. And we're not going to have any more of that sexist women in miniskirts with bouffant hairdos anymore. No, that's so 1960s. It seemed like maybe a lot of the cool stuff in the original Star Trek was forced on Gene Roddenberry by NBC, but no, I don't think that's true, because I know Gene Roddenberry was enough of a rascally guy that I'm sure he wanted to see the girls in the miniskirts, but I just never got into it. And then people get angry at me. They said, if you just waited till the 3rd season, that's when it got good. Well, I'm not going to wait till the 3rd season. It's amazing that I stayed to the 2nd season. But you know what I like is the Orville. And it seems like there's been 2 years since the last episode. I haven't finished watching the 2nd season, but and I know it's just an attempt to make us somewhat humorous, but actually basically pretty serious in a way, even though it's supposed to be like the Next Generation. I realize that it still has enough feel of the original series that if the Next Generation had been like the Orville, I would have been all on board. No pun intended. The other series, never watched Deep Space Nine. Enterprise looked horrible. I think I watched the first episode of that. Horrible theme song. Oh, that was the other thing. How great was the music in the original series? And then the Next Generation, all it did was recycle the theme song from Star Trek the Motion Picture. But It was just, that was a great package. The music, it was wonderful. Those 3 years, although the third season was a little weaker of the original Star Trek, that's what I liked. So that's shameful secret number one. Shameful secret number two is I don't like Todd McFarlane's art. It's just never grabbed me. What else? I don't like, well, it's not that I don't like him, it's just I don't connect with Spawn. He's just not an interesting character to me. I guess I don't connect with Venom or Carnage, because they came along when I was taking hiatus from comics there in the 90s. I started laughing because the word hiatus, 2 years ago during the summer, my wife and I watched Big Brother, and that's another shameful secret, is I've watched every episode of Big Brother since it started 20-something years ago. That first season, my mother watched it. I watched every episode with my mother, and then the next year, she was in the hospital, and that's when she passed away. She only got to see the first few episodes of the second season, but she loved it so much. I've kept watching it all these years, just kind of in honor of my mother. Plus, I honestly like it. But there was a little, what's the politically correct term? Dwarf. You don't say midget, but there was a dwarf on the show, and he was a bodybuilder. He was a gay bodybuilder, and he was this dwarf guy, and he was from South America or somewhere, and he was talking about that we're going to be on a hiatus. And this surfer guy that was also from California was saying, a hiatus? What are you talking about? He says, hiatus, when we don't work for a while. And he says, you mean hiatus? And it became a running joke. My wife and I, and even on the show, they kept, because it was so funny, because he really thought, because he got angry. He says, hiatus, you don't know what hiatus means? And so when we first adopted our beagle, Drusilla, we called her hiatus for a long time. I don't know why we stopped hiatus. So, only liking the original Star Trek, not liking these dark, demonic characters that are supposed to be so cool and hip. I don't like that. Todd McFarlane. What else do I hate? It's not that I hate Venom, but that third Star Trek, Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi's like me. He knew Spider-Man from the 60s and the 70s. Therefore, he made two great. Spider-Man 2 was great. Spider-Man 3, that Avi Arad guy that controlled all the Marvel characters there for a while before Marvel went bankrupt, he says, you've got to put Spawn in there. He says, I don't even know what Spawn is. I want to make it with Sandman. And you got to admit, no matter what you say about Spider-Man 3, and it was not good. It was a huge, the guy they got to play Sandman was perfect casting. They said, no, you gotta shoehorn Venom in. And so he put Venom in, and I think that's what really ruined the movie. And it's just, Sam Raimi just wasn't having a good time doing that. If they had taken Spawn out and just had more Sandman, and not had, if you haven't seen it, I don't mean to ruin it for you, but they shouldn't have had this revelation that Sandman was really the guy that killed Uncle Ben. That was not a good idea. And there are and then they had Spider-Man in the black suit, which, another thing that, okay, what else? There were other things. If they just had focused on Sandman, then they could have had a little bit more of Harry Osborn coming back as the new Green Goblin, and it might have been a more focused movie. It just felt like Sam Raimi had been fudged with enough that it just blew the movie. Okay. What is my point? Alright, so anyway, right now, January 17th may be a historic day, or it may be nothing. Off to another subject. September 12th, 2001, the day after 9/11, I'm driving home from work, and I get stopped on Hemphill in Fort Worth, and a train is going by, and it keeps going by, and going by, and going by. Tank after tank, after military vehicle, personnel carrier, just kept going. I was talking to my father, who was still alive at the time, later that evening. I said, we must really be going to war big time. This train just kept going. And he says, yeah, when I was in 7th grade, Pearl Harbor happened when I was in 7th grade. This is my dad talking. He said, so I'm on my bike going to school, like the Monday after, like the day after, or a couple of days after Pearl Harbor. And he said I was late to school because this train just kept going by. And it's like, oh, okay. So World War II. Now, if you're looking at the internet, more than just comic book videos, and you're seeing Texas, North Carolina, trains, people filming from their cars as trains go by, just keep going and going with military vehicles. So something's going on. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but some people are saying that at some point that there's 75,000 Chinese troops in Canada and like 225,000 down south of the border in Mexico, Chinese troops. And they're planning to come in if Biden is sworn in, and then they're going to come in to keep order. If Biden's not sworn in, according to the internet theories, and I'm not saying it's necessarily true, although I do have a flashlight here, because I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. And it's not just going to guard a virtual Zoom inauguration. I don't know. And how do I say this? Plus, I just forgot what I was saying. Okay, I was talking about, okay, right. Oh, the theory is, at some point today, or tomorrow, at the latest, there's going to be an emergency broadcasting system that'll light up your phone, all TV stations, everything's going to be shut off. The internet, everything's going to go down, and you'll only have like one channel, and it will broadcast over and over again exactly what's been going on, with confessions from some of the bad people confessing all the stuff they've been doing, and so that there's unity in the American population, and they'll realize, okay. And then they'll have martial law in some of the big cities where there's going to be the most chances of rioting. But because supposedly we're on the verge of being taken over, just basically a communist revolution. Plus all you already see we're living that now with all the censorship. Like, I don't know, what can I say? People are afraid to even say his name. They say JB's inauguration. I don't know. But anyway, if we go to if we go to the emergency alert system, then these kooks on the internet will be right. And if not, well, who knows? I probably should frame it where those centerfolds are not in view. So, amazing. Look at this little thing I've had since I was in 2nd grade. Oh man, this was in Houston, Texas. It's the Weatherby Arms Museum. When you go in a motel and there are all these little flyers you can pick up for tourist attractions, right? And I picked this up at some point in my travels, because we traveled all around the country. My dad was in the Army. We were always moving from place to place. But I guess there was a museum that looked like a castle once upon a time on 2510 West Ridge, Houston, Texas. Weatherby Arms, adjacent to the Astro Domain complex in Houston, is a castle fortress which you enter via drawbridge over a moat. Well, they tore down the Astrodome. I'm sure this is long gone. But the thing about it that fascinated me as a kid, it's like all this. What it does is it has a torture chamber, and it shows this horrible torture. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like metal spikes going into this guy's eyes there, and blood. And then here's this about to be beheaded. Yeah. It's more than a museum. Anyway, that fascinated me as a kid. Oh, look at this 1963 catalog for Aurora model kits. This carnival music's perfect for it. Car model kits. There was a time when 49 cents was pretty expensive. You'd have to save up for a while to buy a 49-cent model kit. Not in my lifetime, but a few years before I was born. I was born in '65. But I remember being able to buy a comic for 15 cents. I don't quite have a memory of the 12-cent era. The first comics I bought, you know, the first comic book I ever bought on my own, that I walked to the store in Heidelberg, Germany, where we were living, was DC comic. It was Laurel and Hardy. I think it's from about 1970, 71, so I was like maybe 6 years old. Oh, look at this here, don't turn this page. You know what that means. We're about to move into what says don't turn this page unless you are interested in fabulous profits. Not prophets that tell you the future, but money. The mummy. Here are photos taken of kits actually built by the Aurora Model Company. They painted them the way. Isn't that cool? Damn. And then airplanes. But this thing's like in perfect condition. So let me put this back where I got it. I'll show you a lot more of this ephemera in future episodes. Oh, but what I didn't tell you is that if all that stuff happens, the internet's supposed to be down and everything's supposed to be down for 10 days. And they may turn off. If the phone services are shut off, they're supposed to still be able to, you're supposed to still be able to call 911. More than likely, none of that will happen, and it's just all some. Probably it'll just be an inauguration, and then we'll just have a really horrible next 4 years. But maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. Could happen at any time, or it might not happen. Either way, I'm going to be up here bagging and boarding comics. So I finally got this comic. From the wrong room to the right room, because I'm in the Bronze Age room now. So let's get to bagging and boarding. So listening to carnival music today. I've had some people ask me, well, what's the music playing in the background? And I've just got different stuff playing from different sources, so if you can give me the exact minute in the video and which number episode it is, I could probably track it down and tell you what artist is playing. This is just like recordings of carousels that are off YouTube. Here you can get them. there, but what I would do, when I don't know a song and I really want to know, there's an application that you can get from the application store, and it's called Shazam. And it when you hear a song, like you're in a store and there's a cool song playing, which would be very unlikely that would ever happen, but it's been known to happen. I press a little button and it listens for about 10-15 seconds, and usually it can identify the song and tell you the name of the artist, and then you wonder no more. So, damn. And yeah, normally I only buy Silver Age bags. And Golden Age bags when I accumulate enough Golden Age comics, and I don't have that many Golden Age comics, so mainly I just buy Silver Age bags. But I had an influx, because I won 100 regular bags, and then the local comic store keeps throwing regular bags into the bag. You know, if I buy a new comic, they'll throw a regular bag in for every new comic I buy. So then I wind up with regular comic bags that I need to use up, and then once they're gone, I'll no longer have this confusion that I had 2 episodes ago. But if anything horrible happens, I've got my civil defense helmet all ready to go. See? And I got my flashlight. And I got my rubber ducky. Because there's one other thing that makes bath time the very best time of the day. And do you know what that is? God damn it. It's a civil defense helmet and a flashlight so you can see the Chinese troops coming at you. Now, it's supposed to be well, they say if this happens, you stay indoors, because the good guys, our soldiers, are going to be out there arresting all these bad guys, and you don't want to get out there in the way. That's the intel I'm picking up from the internet. So, we'll see what happens. Oh my gosh, what is this shit? I pick these things up because they're free, and then they just pollute my collection. The advertisements for shit that's coming up, but oh my gosh. Whatever King in Black is, it must be some big new event in Marvel Comics, because everything says King in Black at the top. Maybe you can tell me down in the talk back below what in the name of God King in Black is. This I remember as a really good comic, even though it's modern. Well, I don't know how modern it is. Army of Darkness. What is that? 8? Oh, I don't have my reading glasses in this freaking room. I have them in the other room. I'm gonna need those. Wait, hold on. Here's some little reading glasses. I can act like I'm one of the birds. The band The Birds, not one of the birds that fly around. I haven't gone that insane yet. God damn, these are horribly shitty. You think, God, I can't wear these fucking things. Pardon my language. Let's take a sojourn, shall we? An expedition to the cool room, where we could possibly obtain. Oh my God! You ever see this shit? This I pulled this out of Preview magazine. I shouldn't have done it. It's I'll show you this in a minute. It's Jim Steranko did pre-production art for Raiders of the Lost Ark. which was the only really, truly good Indiana Jones movie. Another thing I'll say that will be very controversial. Gotta be quiet because my wife's asleep. I'm always waking her up with my shit. Okay, oh yeah, I found this is the little thing that laughs. I was showing you the other day. It's a bag of laughs, right? And I got 2 of them, and I just got some batteries the other day when I was loading up for the 10 Days of Darkness that's supposed to happen. And thing about, oh, isn't that a great halo? Oh, that's terrific. It's got, you're supposed to press on it, and then there's a little record in there that would go ha 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 ho ho ha. Yeah. The same basic mechanism that made the talking G.I. Joe talk. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm going to be back in this room later on. I got all this stuff here to show you. Okay, I came in here for glasses. Glasses. Glasses, glasses, glasses. No, I don't need glasses because here's my atomic magnifying glass. All right. I'll be back in this room later. Of course, I don't know if the internet will be working at that point. And I guess if once all this stuff goes down, if it really happens, maybe everyone will be restored and they'll stop all the censorship. Who knows? Is it just a pipe dream? There's no way of telling. Okay. You know, I was just thinking, I was talking in the last video about music class in elementary school, and I was remembering an elementary, 5th grade music teacher that was always making us sing Glenn Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy, which is why I know the full lyrics of that song. Maybe I'll do it karaoke style for you sometime. Haven't had an all singing episode in a while. But yeah, I remember more about her. She was this young, kind of hippie-ish teacher working there on an army base at the Army Elementary School, Tacoma, Washington, at Fort Lewis, Washington, right? So that's where I'm in 5th grade. So, but then she had us also sing this song, "One Tin Soldier" by Coven, and that was used in the movie Billy Jack. And that's kind of that song was on the top 40 charts like 3 years in a row, because it was kind of a anthem, that anti-war anthem, right? And it was a cool song. We sang that like every music class. We would sing Rhinestone Cowboy and One Tin Soldier and a bunch of other songs. Well, cool, you know, it's a cool song. And a few years later, you know, as I become more and more of a record collector, and I stumble on an album, a gatefold album that opens up, right? By Coven. Hey, there's that band. That's the song I used to sing in 5th grade. And on the front, you know, is the girl lead singer and these guys around her, and there's a skull. And you open it up, and it's a black mass, and the lead singer is laying there naked on an altar, and they're all doing like some kind of demonic black mass. And I'm thinking, holy smoke, this is like a satanic kind of Black Sabbath band, because some of the hippies were into that kind of satanic stuff, you know, the Mancini type hippie that were into witchy stuff. And so anyway, yeah, I thought, well, gee, this is the band I was singing in 5th grade, and here I'm looking at the lead singer about to be sacrificed. Oh, another memory. And I don't think they do this in schools anymore. I guess when I was in elementary school around 19 kindergarten, first grade, second. I think we even did it in third, fourth, maybe. In PE class, they would have these giant parachutes. They must have been war surplus from World War II or the Korean War or something. Because I don't think they were doing a lot of parachuting in the Vietnam War. But they were old parachutes, right? And sometimes they might have been colorful. I don't remember. But the kids you would lay the parachute out in a circle in the middle of the gym floor, and the kids would get all around it. And then usually they would put on Up, Up, and Away in My Beautiful Balloon by The Fifth Dimension. So imagine that, which is a cool song. So imagine that song's playing with it, upbeat, kind of wonderful song. And the kids would make the balloon just billow up, and then they would get under it, and it would be up above you, mushrooming over you. Do you remember this? This is something I don't think they do in PE class anymore. Maybe there's just a lack of availability of Army surplus parachutes. I don't know, but that was so much fun playing with parachutes in elementary school. These memories come back to me, and like the corners of my mind, misty watercolored memories of the way we were. Yes, the communist Barbra Streisand, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I gotta get the show on the road. I gotta upload this to the internet before the 10 days. How many days of darkness is it supposed to be? I can't remember if it's 8 or 10. Okay, so this is Death. Oh, you know, a new season of American Gods has started. I was enjoying that. First season had a lot of close-ups of male genitalia. So I have a feeling the showrunners of season 1 liked the sight of male genitalia close up. But it was still an amazing show about all the different gods, Odin, Astera, whatever, all the Jesus, all the gods are real, and they're all kind of in warfare for today. And then there's new gods that represent the media and the internet, and there's new gods that are trying to knock down the old gods, some of whom have been forgotten. And it's like the goddess, I think her name was Ostara or whatever, that Easter's based on, and it is like kind of depressed because her holiday's been taken away by Jesus, and there's all these different versions of Jesus from different parts of the world, and they're all apologetic. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this to you. It's I mentioned it because it's Neil Gaiman, right? This guy, he wrote the book. It's a cool show. Second season, there wasn't as many close-ups of penises, and that was appreciated. Third season starting now, so that's cool. I'll watch that. But we're not watching much television. We got to watch the 2 Scarlet Witch TV shows, but we still haven't watched any of the new Sabrina seasons, just because we've been trying to figure out what's going on in the news, and probably finding out way too much based on all the insane stories I'm telling you. Okay, this must be a regular bag because it doesn't fit shit. Silver, that's what I need. Okay, I gotta have a special area to put the horrible regular bags. Just the word regular is just a horrible word. No one wants to be regular. Who wants to be, I'm just a regular fella. I'm just a normal, regular folks. I ride a train to Senate every day for 47 years. I'm just a regular folk just like you. Now I'm going to build everything back better for you. Alright, so we got this sleeved. Death. Yes, Death. This is her theme song, by the way. This is the theme. They started Death TV show, which I'm surprised they haven't done. I think that was a companion to the Sandman. That was supposed to be great, but I never read it. Oh, and I was telling you about this comic Nexus. I've got a few issues of Nexus, and the art looks so great. I looked it up on mycomicshop.com. That comic is like worthless. Issue 1 is like $3 in near mint. It's like, I couldn't find any issues that are worth more than a couple of dollars. That doesn't mean they're not wonderful and not priceless, but people don't collect it. A hero from the 80s from some, forget what company, but Steve Rude was the artist. He was like the cool guy there, I guess in the era before Todd McFarlane came along and was the cool guy. Wonder how many people will unsubscribe because I don't like, I only like the real Star Trek, the 60s Star Trek. I've met other people like me, I'll have you know. I'm not the only one. Maybe this, no, that's good. Okay. All right. What has happened to Radio Gratu? I must have been in a very juvenile mood when I was putting this this disc together. Sorry about that, if it's offending you. Let me try a regular bag just for clearness. Yeah, I think this will actually fit. The last episode ended prematurely because when you delete the last video you recorded from the iPhone, you also have to shut your phone off for a little bit and turn it back on, and then it somehow clears the memory and gives you some more space to fit your next broadcast on. Okay, this is Doorway to Nightmare. Very late period DC horror. They introduced this character, Madame Xanadu, I think they brought her back recently. Actually, she was on, they made a Swamp Thing TV show, and we didn't see but the first few episodes, but it was really good, and it had like cool effects, kind of like The Thing. But they had a Madame Xanadu, but I think she was like a African-American older lady instead of this goth kind of vampire-looking character. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be the same character. But yeah, this Doorway to Nightmare, this cover, but it's approved by the Comics Code. Oh, it's the 1978 calendar of disasters. They got the disaster fad a few years too late. Around 74, all disaster movies. That was the coolest thing. 1970 was the first one, Airport, about a bomb on an airplane. Then 72, they had the Poseidon Adventure, right? Ship turns upside down. People have to go up to the bottom. Everything's upside down. But then it was, 74, the Earthquake, and Airport 75 came out. They came out in 74. And the Towering Inferno. And then by 78, the disaster movies were like The Swarm, a bunch of bees coming, but no one cared by that point. But
making music great again.
Remember Steel?
106.9 FM.
If Trump doesn't stay in office, that's all this Making America, I don't know. We'll still keep broadcasting that on Radio Gratu because who knows? Maybe he'll return in 4 years. That's a magazine bag. Magazine bags, indeed. Okay, let's see if I can use up a regular bag. Hooray, one more regular bag gone. Yeah, regular bags, I guess, work for these smaller 80s comics. But this is Doorway to Nightmare number 2. Oh, here's Doorway to Nightmare number 1. This artwork is amazing. Magnifying glass. Here, I put my hand out like this and concentrate. The magnifying glass will just come to my hand like Luke Skywalker can. Oh, here it is. January, February 78. Oh, it's Val Mayrick. Yeah, I always liked his art. This song's kind of one of the unofficial themes to the Gratu Orlov program, but the real theme is the theme to Ultra Q, which was also used as the theme to the Hypnotic Eye, which I worked on back in the halcyon days of the mid-1990s for Dallas Public Access Cable. It was Joe Riley's baby, but he based it on a magazine that I did called The Sophisticate. You can see some copies of The Sophisticate if you go back far enough in my my blogs here on YouTube. This was a science fiction trope used for many years, not just in Planet of the Apes, but we know it mainly for Planet of the Apes. There was also the first issue of Commandi, or Commandy is what I used to call it when I was in elementary school. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, honestly. Commandy, how do you pronounce it? Oh, this is a good song. Making me forget that the country's on the brink of war with China. Doomsday +1. Yeah, it does not give the comic much breathing room. I don't like this. I'm going to use Silver Age. Silver Age Dave returned to YouTube yesterday and gave a tour of his refurbished, he changed up his comic room, and now he has 2 more comic rooms that he teased us with being able to see it sometime. Yeah, you need, I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you know about Silver Age Dave, and yep. Well, Doctor Strange 31. Yeah. Oh. Crazy stuff going on. Oh, Silver Age. Okay, now I have to get in the groove. I have to acquaint myself with where I've got everything, and then I can start. This is the brand I've been using. I was watching Man Bear Pig has a great video showing his Hulk collection, and he's the one that's been showing in his videos how to seal these bags, because it was always a mystery to me. And he said the brand he uses is BCW. The brand, I guess, is Ultra Pro, just because that's what they carry at Cosmic Comics, which is not actually the closest comic shop to me. The closest one is called Wild West Comics, and those are the people that bought out the stores from Lone Star Comics when they closed and just became mail order, mycomicshop.com. But they're more expensive and a little too hoity-toity, and they don't have any vintage comic books. And I try to avoid comic stores that don't have any older comics. That's just, that store is not one aimed at me. So he was telling me that I'm supposed to grab the strip from below, and he says, well, at least that's the way it works on BCW. BCW, yeah, mine I think you grab from the top. See, it's more from the top. But BCW, I do not like their boxes, man. But I think they almost have cornered the market on these comic book boxes. The older boxes, and I can show you the difference in some of these older boxes. I've got boxes I've had since I was in high school in here, and they were just better constructed. Yeah, Doctor Strange 31. Ooh, I always like this cover. Number 30. Cool Jack Davis Dracula art there. I'm going to be disappointed if I don't hear an emergency broadcasting system alert. I really wanted to, you know, like Sculler and Mulkey, or Mulkey and Skulder, or whatever the frick they were called on the X-Files. I want to believe. Sculler and Molly. Sculler, what the fuck were their names? Kolchak the Night Stalker. That one I don't have trouble remembering their names because he had personality. Sculler and Mulder always had I mean, she was pretty, you know. I guess maybe the girls liked that guy, but they didn't have a lot of personality. They were just kind of, it's all right. No offense, I like the X-Files. It's all wonderful. But if Kolchak the Night Stalker had been allowed to have a second, third, fourth, fifth season, damn. Speaking of Kolchak, you know, he appeared in the Christmas classic, A Christmas Story, which is still bizarre that Bob Clark, who directed Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and Deranged, which was an Ed Gein movie, and Porky's. He came off the Porky's movies and made A Christmas Story, and it's like it couldn't be any different. But it's such perfect period detail showing the, I guess it's the 40s, or is it the 30s? Anyway, there's a cut scene that apparently doesn't exist. There's just a photograph on the internet where I think there might be two. I think there's a cut scene where he meets Red Ryder, but I'm not sure of that. But what I am sure is they did film a scene with Flash Gordon and Ming the Merciless where I guess he saves Flash Gordon's life with the Daisy BB rifle gun. And I wish they could. Why is this footage lost? I don't understand. Maybe it'll turn up, but I don't know how a studio just loses footage like that. Maybe that people didn't really realize that movie was going to become a classic, you know. It's like The Wizard of Oz. When it came out, it was like, big deal. But then by the time it got to television years later, it became this huge classic. That's cool. Maybe this is a key issue because this is the first appearance of whoever the fuck that is. Who is that character? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I remember this, this when they brought the Fantastic Four to, what was it, NBC in 78, and they didn't have the Human Torch, they had that little floating robot, and it was actually, Jack Kirby actually worked on it doing the breakdown, you know, the sketches. The word will come to me. I didn't get much sleep again last night because we were listening to General McEnany or something telling us what is going to happen. I forget what his name is. I'll tell you, if Trump doesn't stay in office, I'm going to miss those press briefings with Kayleigh McEnany, just handing the press their ass. Asses, plural. The press has more than one ass, so it must be in the plural form. Dr. Strange, Dr. Butcher, MD. Pleased to meet you. We went to the same medical school. Look, you can win a Toys R Us shopping spree.
The greatest radio station on the planet Earth. Radio Gratu 106.9.
You can put weight on. Who is this asshole? Oh, it's Mile High Comics buying a 2-page spread with their overpriced shit. That guy out of Colorado lucked into the biggest collection in the history of mankind. This real estate agent calls him up and says, we're trying to sell this house and the whole basement is filled with these comic books. We already threw out a couple shelves of them, but could you just come and take them away and sell them to you for nothing? Just come and get them, because we're trying to show this house and the whole basement is just shelf after shelf of comic books. And he says, oh, okay, I'll come out. And it's like the guy that had passed away that owned the house was a commercial artist, and he bought one perfect copy from the newsstand of every comic book that came out from the time comic books were invented through the 50s, right? And he used them for, in theory, he was buying them for reference, and maybe he wrote it off as taxes, I don't know. But so, because he was in just a perfect environment, up high, cold weather, and Colorado, those comics looked like they were brand new. They still smelled like fresh comics right from the factory, and so those are called the Mile High Collection, and those are the most famous pedigree. Someone even made a movie about that. It was really bad. It was about comic book dealers trying to get this collection. It was they changed the names and everything. But anyway, that guy's got a giant warehouse full of every comic ever made, but he just charges such ridiculous prices because he wants people to respect comic books and look at them as museum pieces. So he will charge, like the comic that changed my life, Marvel Treasury Edition #2, Fantastic Four. That's where I first saw that these Marvel superheroes are so cool. Before, I was only giving a chance to the Marvel monsters like Werewolf by Night and Tomb of Dracula, all that. And that Treasury Edition is, I don't think it's, if you were paying $40 for it, I think that would probably be too much, I think. But I saw a tour of his store on YouTube, and I saw that in a display case for like $250, and that was ridiculous. And I just thought, man, this guy's just horrible. Ooh, it looks like the sound effects are from this cover. Doesn't it? It's called synchronicity. Sound effects that appear just the right time, just for this comic book. 44. Couldn't have planned it any better. A lot of covers where it just appears that he's in hell. Damn. Who is this artist? Oh, this is from, must have gotten this from the Quarter Bin. See, Buddy Saunders stamped it. The mycomicshop.com Lone Star Comics guy. It's Dan Green, penciler, Terry Austin, inker. what I noticed is you could tell they're trying to get a Steve Ditko look. Okay. Just, like this panel here, the face, and just, they're going for the Steve Ditko look, which is cool. All right. I think I'll just keep going until the camera says memory is full. And I guess if the emergency broadcasting system goes off, my phone will tell me. It'll interrupt my video recording, and I don't know. Oh, I gotta seal it. I forgot to seal the thing. Yeah, I think these are from the top. I think it would be better if it was from the bottom. So, but I just have to go with the supplies that the store carries. And, let's get, I'll come back to the Doctor Strange later. Oh, this was my childhood copy. I've got it in Mylar. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful, Frank Brunner? Or is it Brunner? I don't know. I always called him Brunner. What do I know? It's just nothing like it. Frank Brunner. There's Monsters Unleashed. I think it's number 2. Has a Frank Brunner sword and sorcery story. It's unbelievable. I'll dig that out one of these days and show that to you. Okay, boards. I'm starting to get a little punch drunk here. I might need a Dr. Pepper. You know, you're supposed to drink one at 10, 2, and 6. That used to be their advertising slogan. That if you drank a Dr. Pepper at 10 in the morning, 1 at 2 in the afternoon, and 1 at 6, that would keep you going through your day. Oh, that's a frickin' goddamn regular bag. I'll let these sound effects go on a little bit long here. But if anyone tunes in 106.9, any of the neighbors directly around the house, they'll hear this, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Dead of Night, number 4. Now, Dead of Night reprinted 50s horror comics. And if I controlled Marvel Comics, I would put out titles like this today that reprinted that old stuff. But there has to be some people out there. There are people that like horror stuff, you know, that would like that. I could sleep to this, you know. I don't think I've ever tried, but Dead of Night followed by Death. Here's number 6 of Dead of Night with Jack the Ripper. I showed you this one before, I'm pretty sure, because I remember talking about Jack the Ripper. And I think I did. Jack the Ripper. This is from... Damn, my eyes are getting bad. Glass. Astonishing Tales, number 18. Ooh. That has to be Bill Everett's art. Look at ooh, shit. Got a fan blowing here. Dead of Night, number 6. My childhood copy. See, I'm getting good at this. Motherfucker. Yeah, these resealable bags, that's a pretty good idea. So I'm in this room because my wife's sleeping downstairs in the room below the Silver Age room. And if this was playing on the radio in there, and then she wakes up and hears this, then she gets really mad and says, I woke her up. Can you imagine? I like that monster ghost. It was just like a sheet they gave you, and a balloon. From what I understand. Someone that ordered that. Ooh, they play music in heck. I'll call it heck. Hades. Or maybe it's just a torture chamber or a very active haunted house. I keep wanting to buy an old house. I keep forgetting, what about ghosts? How are you going to handle a ghost, man? Buying I'm looking at these houses built before the Civil War in Virginia and South Carolina. I'm thinking, Loretta Lynn has a house that's from that era, and the whole family has seen ghosts from the Civil War era and all that. I don't know. Do you believe in ghosts? What if ghosts aren't really dead people, but what if you're seeing through time? What if there are two soldiers discussing Civil War in the room that you're now sleeping in, and you wake up and you see them, and right at that moment they're discussing what's going to happen the next day, and they look over and they see you look like a ghost to them because they're seeing the future, and you're seeing the past, like a rift in time. Maybe that's what ghosts are, just you seeing through time. Because people that have passed away and come back have said that time is completely imaginary, that you realize that past, present, future is all happening at the same time. Kind of like that little hole that McCoy and then Spock and Kirk jumped through on that planet that allowed them to go through time, and they could see all the different things happening at different times. Dead of Night introducing the Scarecrow, but not the Batman Scarecrow. Another one of these Marvel anti-hero kind of characters. All right. This is also a childhood copy, The Scarecrow. There's also a Disney Scarecrow, I think, they made a movie about. Dead of Night, number 11, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Black Panther, number 1. Black Panther number 6, childhood copies. Yeah. Oh, another Doctor Strange, number 5. Another Frank Brenner. This is not a childhood copy. You ever flip through a comic and it's like you turn to ads, and then you turn to ads, and it's like you just happen to skip all the artwork, and it's like every page you turn to is ads. Oh, look at that. This is the bane of people's existence that collect this era. People that cut out these Marvel value stamps. This is one for Dormammu. But kids that cut those stamps out, you know, ruined all their comics, and then can't really tell it when you're at a comic store buying it. It's already bagged. And so people have to make sure their Hulk 181s don't have the value stamp cut out. And I saw Silver Age Dave had 3 Hulk 181s on his wall. That is cool. I only have Hulk 180. I wouldn't even have that if my mom didn't buy it for me just blindly. I was home. I've told you this story. This is probably the 6th time I've told it. If you watch all my episodes, you're probably bored with it. With a story like an old grandfather that keeps telling you the same stories over and over again. But that's just how I am. Anyway, I was homesick, and my mom would go out and buy comic books to cheer me up, give me something to do home from school, and she bought Hulk 180, and then didn't mean anything to me at the time, but years later it became well known as Wolverine's first appearance, except for the people that want it to be nothing. 181 is the true first appearance, because basically if you have one Hulk 180, that's his first appearance. If you only have Hulk 181, then you want that to be the first appearance. Who cares? You should have both. I don't have both. Doesn't matter. These are actually recordings of WFUN, the real radio station that I've been stealing the station ID from. You know, the little jingles where they said, WFUN, now more music. Came from this radio station. And it apparently went off the air about in the mid-70s in South Miami, Florida. So these are actual, I remember putting this together. These are actual air checks from that station. Oh, but shit, I hope this music does not set off the copyright, evil copyright people. So they cut out the music, but I don't know how much of a song needs to go through before the evil bots at YouTube determine it as a copyright violation of MCA Universal or something. Dr. Strange 63. I'll tell you what. Let me go take a Dr. Pepper break and come back and entertain you more. And I'll maybe these air checks will have stopped playing. I'd fast forward, but I've lost the remote control. It's somewhere buried. Lost, years lost. Someday will materialize, possibly when a move happens. I don't know. Let's do one more. 64. Oh, Q*bert. I remember going into the arcade Forum Fair at the Forum 303 Mall and seeing the Q*bert for the first time. It's the Capital Comic Company. I thought, wow, what amazing graphics on this new game. I thought it was cool.
Yes, Bob. First of all, I'd like to thank you and WFUN for inviting me to speak to the teenagers of Miami on this particular subject. By lack of activities, I mean that actually there's simply nothing to do on the weekend or during the week. When I was a teenager about 5 years ago, I noticed this same problem. There's nothing to do on the weekend when you have a date except go to the movies. And I think this exhibits a definite lack in the Miami area.
Can you give any solution to this problem that is common
Go to the
myself
beach,
and
you
a lot of
motherfucker.
teenagers in the Miami area?
Well, I think so. As a matter of fact, what I run is a teenage nightclub tour. After I recognized this lack in the Miami area, I organized a Hootenanny air-conditioned bus ride, whereby we make several stops throughout the Miami area where teenagers are welcome. One of these spots is Copa City, which is a teenage nightclub off the Venetian Causeway where they have dancing, a show, and of course food is available. From the Copa City, where everybody swings and has a heck of a good time, we go out to the Hootenanny Coffee House. And at the coffee house at 58th Avenue and 8th Street, there's folk music, sing-along, and everybody enjoys themselves in a coffee house atmosphere.
Jeff, how about these service clubs? Is there any way that these groups can benefit from this tour at all?
Sounds
Well, I
like
think so, because I'm
Dick
the
Grayson
owner of
interviewing this guy.
service
Yes, we have a heck of a time at our air-conditioned hootenannies with our folk music. Yes, indeed. Anyway, I'm going to close out, and I better put this on in case something bad happens. I will see you in September. No, I will see you, be seeing you